he has been.
Wake Forest in white, and we are underway. The Demon Deacons start with the ball. Wake Forest crushed Boston College at Chestnut Hill in the first meeting back in January, 85-63. What's the recipe for them to do it again?
Well, they've got to continue to do a good job defensively. They really, I thought, jumped out on them. And it's important if you're BC, you have to handle yourself defensively. Make your pressure a factor in the game.
Williamson right to the rim. And appropriate, the senior on senior night opens the score.
Well, that's what you have to do if you're Wake Forest. You're going to get pressured. So let's take a look, but I think it's going to be a challenge for BC. They're going to have to play at senior night. That's always a challenge, and see if they can get themselves ready to go regroup this game.
Boston College starting five. TJ Bickerstaff starting instead of Quinton Post. A big surprise to us. Pull-up pop. Jaden Zachary rattles in and out, no good. We'll take a look at the Demon Deacons starting five. Williamson and Appleby, the backcourt. Two guys in their final home game, at least in the regular season. Wake Forest could potentially host here if they make the NIT. Of course, Demon Deacons fans hoping that they can capture that magic that Virginia Tech did a year ago and shock people in Greensboro next week. Appleby, shot clock winding down, hoists it off the mark. BC ball.
Well, this is the time of year, Jay, that if you're playing good basketball, as I said, get into the tournament with some momentum. If you can do that, you can make a run and you give your team a chance. There's so many good teams in this league. If they can put something together now, they can definitely take that to their advantage.
Boston College 6 days ago recorded undoubtedly their best win of the season, 63-48 against Virginia. Then they had a bye over the weekend. As a coach, you want to ride that momentum, right? You want to keep playing. You don't want 6 days off after a big win like that, right?
Not at all. You got that right. I hated that as a coach. Let's play. Tee it up. Let's go.
Step back. Williamson doesn't drop. Earl Grant told us at shoot-around today he thought defense was key in that win against Virginia, holding the Cavaliers to 48. They can continue that in the final two games of the season. They can go to Greensboro and say, hey, we can beat anybody the way we're defending right now. Hard foul. The freshman Bobby Klintman on the receiving end of it.
Well, you're right, Jay. I think what's important is we'll talk about in a second. We'll talk about possessions, but look at the hands of Tyree Appleby. He's really got the ability to get in there, lead his team in transition, something that Coach Grant is concerned about. He's got to get his team back and get his defense set. Well, we talked about possessions. If you're BC, you want limited possessions. If you're Wake Forest, you want as many possessions as you can. 82 possessions is the number they try to strive for. If you're BC, maybe 60s. That's usually a good number for success.
2.5 minutes in, and Boston College still scoreless, playing without Quinton Post at least to start this game. Inside a league bay, he's swarmed by three Demon Deacons. It'll stay BC ball underneath their own hoop.
Interesting, they're still not afraid to post up guys, but in this case, they're using their guards to get interior position.
Zachary through traffic. That's a tough take from Jaden Zachary. Much needed for the Eagles.
Well, it's important that they get on the board. They don't want to find themselves digging a hole. You don't want to get behind on the road and get behind like they did in their last game.
Appleby from three. Got it!
Jay, I'm still trying to figure out how he averages points and assists. Hard to pass the ball to yourself, but he finds a way to score, and he makes his teammates better.
Yeah, a year ago we were talking about will Alondas Williams be the first ACC player to lead the conference in points and assists. He won Conference Player of the Year. Now Appleby may actually do it. And Quinton Post at the scorer's table. Good to see him ready to check in for Boston College. And they need him. This offense lacking flow to start the game.
Well, we talked about how important he is and how good he's been in this last month of February and into January.
Appleby always the initiator. This time passing. Klintman. He hits it. Back-to-back threes for Wake Forest.
And you see Appleby celebrating. Not many players do, Jay, celebrating his assist. It's great to have a guy on the team that makes you better.
Coach, you just asked, how does he lead the conference in points and assists? He just showed you on back-to-back possessions.
And he knows who to get the ball to, that's for sure.
6-0 Demon Deacons run. Appleby swats it away. The steal and the easy lay-in. Tyree Appleby.
And no timeout here. You're going to wait for the TV timeout, I hope. In many cases, as a coach, you kind of gamble on that.
8-0 Demon Deacons run over the last 90 seconds. Zachary spun his way into a foul. The first 5 minutes dominated by the Demon Deacons. Tyree Appleby doing Tyree Appleby things to start this game. Basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. It's easy to bundle your home and car insurance at Progressive.com. Now Steve Forbes celebrating all 3 seniors pregame. It's senior night here in Winston-Salem. Daivien Williamson has spent the last 5 years with Forbes, 2 at East Tennessee State, the last 3 here at Wake Forest. There's Quinton Post. It took 5 minutes with Boston College's best player into the game finally, Coach. We were told at the break that he's been limited in practice the last 2 days due to an illness, so didn't get the start, but is in there now.
Well, it's important. And not only, do you want Post in because of how well he's played, but you're talking about a very young team. Coach Grant talked about having sophomores and freshmen, and so you want a senior in the lineup, and that's what Quinton Post can do for you, give you experience.
Well, you see the numbers with him in the lineup compared to without him, and he makes a huge difference to this Boston College team. And if you needed an example of that, the first 5 minutes you're outscored 12-2.
And you got buckets in the paint. And that's just not going to happen with this big ass.
Williamson fouled. We were just talking about Daivien Williamson, honored before the game as part of the Senior Day celebration. Steve Forbes said he's the only player in his entire coaching career that he spent 5 entire seasons with. The first two at East Tennessee State, and then he's a Winston-Salem native. He transfers with Forbes when he takes the Wake Forest job back home. And what a special 3 years playing in the ACC it's been for that young man.
And that doesn't happen very often, so you know Coach Forbes is excited about it. And I was just about to talk about how well he shoots free throws, of course, and knocks one down. But, you know, it's special when you have a senior, somebody that's been with you and can now play and complete things for your team and be an extension of you. That's huge.
Part of a team at East Tennessee State that won 30 games and then comes here to Wake Forest, where they're at the time at the bottom of the ACC, and really helped set that foundation, that culture. Inside the post and an easy two. That's what Boston College has been missing.
Jay, that was easy. They have not had anything easy. Post gets in the game, he scores immediately.
Stolen away. Pena to Zachary. 1-on-2, and it doesn't matter. Back-to-back baskets for Boston College. They're right back in it.
Yeah, look at the confidence level of BC when Post is in the game. A completely different team.
Here's Cam Hildreth. He had 20 in the first meeting against Boston College. That off the hands of Andrew Carr.
And you can see what happens when there's a turnover. You're Boston College. You can do this. You are good in transition. Coach Forbes knows that. It's one of his concerns going into this game.
The Eagles outscoring the Demon Deacons 6-1 since Quinton Post got in the game. Crazy that one player has that much of an effect on this team, but they're playing totally different with Quinton Post on the floor. CJ Pena hammers it home, and just like that, we've got a one-possession game. Just getting started at the ACC. One run. How does he make such a big difference, Coach?
Well, I alluded to this, Jay. Experience breeds confidence. You play with a guy that's got experience. He also breeds confidence when you're 7 foot tall. So nice to have a guy that size. It makes things a lot easier.
And it's not just this game. When he missed time in non-conference, Boston College really struggled. Nice bucket out of the timeout by Cameron Hildreth.
Well, it's true. That's, by the way, a good timeout by Stu Forbes. You see that after a timeout to come back and score, you want to do that. But Boston College plays at a different level with Quinton Post in the game.
Here's Post with it. Pena, the blow-by. Back-to-back baskets for CJ Pena.
You know, Jay, the whole team just seems to play with an extra hop in their step, and that's something that you can get from your senior that gives you that ability of confidence. You really just are familiar. All things come together.
Klintman swatted away by Pena, almost saved by Prince Aligbe. Pena giving some big-time minutes off the bench for this Eagles team.
Well, here's a look, and not a very good look because a challenge and a block, and not only do you have the ability to challenge shots, if you're BC, you can affect shots, just as important.
Appleby decides to take it. This time doesn't make it. BC has made their last 4 shots, starting to heat up on the road. Dumped inside, Post. One-on-one with Carr. Righty hook. Oh, he makes it look so easy.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't double team. Coach Forbes talked about getting it out of his hands, making it a little more difficult, and they will employ the double team as this game goes on. They cannot afford to play splitting post, man on man.
5 straight makes for Boston College. They trailed by 10 early. Carr, wide open, way off the mark. Risky pass, a league bay. Turns it over. Wake Forest has it up ahead to Hildreth. He misses the finish. Gets his own rebound. Going on 3 Eagles. Decides to smartly pass it out and reset.
That's great hustle. Does not come away with the shot, but he gets the ball back, an extra possession for his team.
Shot clock under 10. Hildreth, you know he wants to ultimately convert, and he can't do it. So Boston College has made 5 in a row. Wake Forest has missed their last 5. The Eagles trailed by 10, 12-2, now looking for the lead. Post, trying to muscle his way in, and an offensive foul is called.
Well, obviously that's a good time. You want to get in there and get some help down there. Post's tough, doesn't like what he's got. You got to stay with it.
You hear that? It's coming. Champ Week. Join in. Make some noise.
Are you ready for this?
We cannot wait for Champ Week to be here, especially in the ACC. The 70th annual New York Life ACC tournament tips off next Tuesday afternoon right down the road at the Greensboro Coliseum. All 3 first-round games on the ACC network starting at 2 Eastern time. Coach, it's the best time of the year.
I love it. I can't tell you about my memories, Jay, playing in the tournament. What a treat for your fans, your alumni, your players. It's something they'll remember the rest of their lives.
Very similar to last year. It feels wide open. We see Virginia Tech pull off 4 wins in 4 days to earn their way into the NCAA tournament. These are two teams trying to capture a same magic in Greensboro next week.
Well, and anything can happen. That's why you want to save your best basketball, play the best basketball as you're here at the end of the season.
Going up top, Matthew March hammers it home.
How good has Steve Forbes been after timeouts? Those are 2 scores now. They drew up their best plays, and they really needed that basket to extend this lead.
He is Mr. Alley-oop this season, the sophomore Marsh. So we're talking about the ACC tournament. This is what it would look like if it started today. Wake Forest an 8, Boston College a 10.
Well, I think you can see these matchups are interesting, but if you're playing good basketball going into the tournament, that's what counts. You want to continue to keep your head up and just really perform, because you can make an advancement if you can get there.
As a coach, what's the #1 thing you want going into Champ Week?
I like to be rested, Jay. Whatever it takes, get fresh legs. You can't go in there fatigued. If you're fatigued, you're going to struggle.
Shot clock down to 3. Post has to hurry. Fading away. Left it short.
I think Post to get that one over would like to go to the basket. They've scored now. BC 12 of their 14 points have been in the paint. They need to go back inside.
Lucas Taylor came off the bench and hit 2 big threes over the weekend against Notre Dame. Misses that triple. Post thought about it from the logo. Backing down Marsh. That didn't drop. And a foul called against Andrew Carr on the rebound. Steve Forbes not happy about it.
Well, you can see the ball gets deep, and he was able to get by. It wasn't a real clean box out. I think the official caught a little body contact. Steve Forbes said, hey, we can let that one go. Let's let the fans enjoy this one. I'll tell you, when you're a coach, Jay, you're on the sideline, you never see the game objectively. It's always subjective. Trust me on that. You want the call to go your way, and you fight for your team.
Well, Steve Forbes always lets you know how he's feeling.
Absolutely.
You can count on that. Zachary weaving through traffic, rejected by Marsh. Bickerstaff had no angle. Hildreth has it, but settles for a jump ball. Possession arrow with Boston College.
Now you're talking about Steve Forbes and the job he's done. He's been a winner at every level. Jay, he's just continued to succeed. And you know, we talked at length today earlier, and he really is enjoying this challenge he's got at Wake Forest. His teams compete. Wherever he's been as a coach, his teams compete.
He was the ACC Coach of the Year last year on a team that, if not for Boston College pulling the upset in the ACC tournament, could very well have went to the NCAA tournament. Got upset by the Eagles back in Brooklyn a year ago by Earl Grant. It was his first year as head coach of Boston College, and they went to Brooklyn totally underseeded. They upset Wake Forest, ruined the Demon Deacon season, and then they took Miami the next day to overtime. Should have won that game. So he knows his team is capable of the postseason. Appleby wants it, and he gets it. 5 seconds to shoot. Appleby trying to turn nothing into something. Way off the mark. Shot clock violation.
Great job by BC. They got the shot clock down. Very difficult to score on a short clock, and that's what BC wants to do. They want shorter possessions. They don't want longer possessions. They don't want to have to be playing in a quick helter-skelter game. They definitely want to play at a slower pace.
Wake Forest is struggling right now. 1 of their last 8, but Boston College can't capitalize. They've missed 5 in a row. Zachary hands it off. Now back to him. Kick out. A 3. Madsen can't connect. Bickerstaff tracks it down. Second chance opportunity. Zachary. He cashes in from 3. Jaden Zachary ties it at 17.
Well, Boston College is really feeling, I think, confident. That's a key word. It's Wake Forest that's averaged 77 points this year. They're struggling to put points on the board.
Appleby goes baseline, kicks to the corner. Taylor, he answers with a three of his own.
That's a great job by Appleby finding his teammates in the dead corner. That's where you want to spot up on an open floor. The corners are always wide open.
Zachary backing down Appleby. Jaden Zachary. He has 5 points in the last minute for Boston College. That's tough to do against Tyree Appleby.
Well, it is, but Boston College not afraid to post their guards. I like their, their format of going inside and trying to get to the foul line and trying to get some easy looks.
Zachary with 11 of the Eagles' 19. Matthew Marsh. Good move, no finish. Madsen for BC's first lead, and he gives it to him. A big-time three from Mason Madsen fires the Eagles in front for the first time tonight.
They're feeling it, Jay. Once you let a team get on a run, it's hard to slow them down.
Taylor in trouble. Too much on it. Remember, BC trailed 12-2. Now it's all Eagles looking for more. 2 bounces but doesn't fall for Devin McLaughlin. Appleby up top. You know what's going to happen. Matthew Marsh for the second time tonight.
Goodness gracious. You got to love to play with Tyree Appleby. Get to the basket. He'll find you. He knows his teammates. He knows how to set them up. Remarkable.
All tied at 22. Back and forth game. Really fun one in this first half.
And you can see that Boston College likes the three. They get open, they knock it down, they're extending. That's important. But obviously it's Appleby over the top to this big fella. Count it.
legend Chris Paul back at the Joel. CP3 and the Suns in Charlotte tomorrow to take on the Hornets. And you know number 3 has to stop by and root on his alma mater. Gave so many great memories to these great fans of this great program, and always when he can tries to come back here.
You know, I love that about Chris Paul. He does come back here, one of the most celebrated players in the program's history. And you got to believe, Jay, that Tyree Appleby has used him for inspiration.
What I love is CP3's got the stat sheet over on the sideline. You think he's shouting out, giving these guys some tips?
Well, he's got to get to him about defense right now. Chris Paul is, you know, when you're a point guard, Jay, you understand the game, and Chris Paul understands the game. You don't go through Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. These guys are cut out and could be and will be coaches before their careers are over.
You think he'd make a great coach?
I sure do. I absolutely do.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. So BC back on top after they trailed by 10 earlier this half. Williamson fading away. That's a second shot clock violation. Boston College has really clamped down defensively.
Well, I think that's been a big key to this game. They've taken Wake down to the last seconds of the shot clock. And again, Jay, Wake's used to scoring 77 in a game. That's one of the tops in the country, but give Boston College credit. They're defending. They're out there really defending cuts. They're clogging up the lane. They've done an excellent job.
You know, it's funny, Coach. Before the game, we were talking about how senior night can go two ways. Either use that energy positively, and certainly Wake Forest did that at the start of the game, but sometimes you can play with a little too much emotion on a night like that.
I've been on both ends, but Jay, I've had players starting a game with tears in their eyes. So, you know, you talk about emotion. It takes maybe a couple of minutes, maybe even a half to get over it because your emotions are running high. So a lot of teams do senior night after the game, or after the game, following the game.
And the two seniors starting, Williamson and Appleby, have combined for just 3 of 8. Here's Hildreth. Give and go. Taylor wide open from 3, and he buries it. Lucas Taylor fires Wake Forest back in front.
That is vintage Wake Forest. When you see the ball moving like that, 4 or 5 guys touching the ball, and now they get an open shot. They can knock down those shots. Great ball movement.
Offensive foul, Demon Deacon's ball. Coming up next over on ESPN, we will take you to Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence. Jalen Wilson and the number 3 Jayhawks taking on Texas Tech. That's 9 o'clock Eastern time over on ESPN as Super Tuesday presented by Progressives continues. Tyree Appleby on the bench, so it's Lucas Taylor, Daivien Williamson in the backcourt, and Taylor airballs the floater. Stripped away. Can Wake Forest capitalize? Littman from the corner, way too much on it. We've seen 4 or 5 air balls in this first half from Wake Forest. And 2 straight. Littman trying his luck again. This time hits iron, but still can't connect.
And again, Jay, this is a team that's shooting 37, almost 38% from the three-point line, so they've been off their mark. A sluggish start for the Demon Deacons.
4 of 13 from 3. A team that led by 10, that lead down to 1 with under 3 left in the first half. the best deal in fast food. Well, that's the Maya Angelou Residence Hall on the campus of Wake Forest University. Angelou was the Reynolds Professor at Wake Forest for American Studies after for 3 decades, from 1981 to 2011, after an unparalleled career as a poet, memoirist, and civil rights activist that resulted in her receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. You can stream Black History Always on ESPN Plus all year long. Scoop to the hoop, doesn't drop for BC. Would have given the Eagles the lead. Hildreth, coast to coast. Oh, almost an and one. Both teams getting halfway down, but not falling.
I think, Jay, that when you talk about Wake Forest, they've got to handle. You got to handle the physicality of Boston College. They're going to bump you. They play physically, and they pressure you. So it's not a bad idea if you're Wake Forest. Take the ball to the rim. You have to beat pressure.
And Hildreth continues to struggle. This is that free throw. Only 2 points for him today. He had 20 in the first meeting back in Chestnut Hill in January. Big reason why Wake Forest won that game, and he is struggling tonight. Back and forth game so far in this first half. What stood out to you?
Well, I like the bench. Boston College has scored over half their points off the bench. Very important to do this on the road. Your bench becomes a factor. It gives you energy.
Great pass, but no finish. Back-to-back missed layups for Boston College. Zachary makes up for it, though. The steal, and he's fouled.
Yeah, you said that, Jay, and that's what you do. You make a mistake, you miss a bunny, you come back, you make a steal, you come back, and you find a way to get your team to the line. Great second effort and keeping your head in the game.
I love watching Jaden Zachary play. Every single possession, he gives it everything he's got. A stellar freshman year last year. Unknown, coming out of the junior college ranks and proving that he is an ACC caliber player.
Well, he's blue collar, but this whole Boston College team is blue collar. They're not afraid to mix it up. You're going to see some bruises, some bumps, maybe a little blood, but they've got to use their scrappiness against a team that really likes to put points on the board, that can get out and go. A challenge to play Wake Forest, but if you're going to play them, play aggressively.
And with that made free throw, Zachary has accounted for half of Boston College's scoring. He's got 13 of the Eagles' 26. Tyree Appleby back in the game for the Demon Deacons. Has not scored since the 15-minute mark. Leads the ACC in scoring. Only 5 points to his name tonight.
They're doubling him out after every ball screen.
Has it here, trying to find some magic at the end of the shot clock. Step back three, no good. Zachary with a head of steam, lost the handle. It bounced off Bobby Klintman, so will stay with BC.
I like the aggressiveness. Both teams trying to get to the rim. And again, getting the foul line's a key. You got to come away anything but empty-handed.
Post. This is the bunny. Boston College has missed a lot of good looks inside. That kills you as a coach, right?
You as your coach, you're going to bring that up at halftime. Trust me, Earl Grant will say, guys, we missed 5 point-blank layups. Let's go back and convert.
That's 10 points. Hildreth, hard foul. He'll head to the line for 2.
But, Jay, that's what Wake's got to do. You know, you've got an angle of the basket. Get to the basket and get to the foul line.
Neither team has made a field goal in the last 3 minutes. They've both missed 4 in a row. Till Saturday, an absolutely loaded day on ESPN. Kansas, Texas, 4 Eastern time. And then Duke and North Carolina. Strange to not see numbers next to those two schools, Dave. That's at 6:30, and then Arizona, UCLA, another top 10 matchup. The nightcap, 10 Eastern time, a sonic blockbuster Saturday.
You know, Jay, you're Duke in North Carolina, and you don't have a number by your name. Not to worry, they will not disappoint in March. No two teams have had more success over the past several years.
Well, everybody counted them out a year ago, and they both ended up in the Final Four. So it's funny. Narrative all season long is the ACC's having a down year. I've been privileged to call this conference all year. Eye test tells you that once again they're going to have teams get in and make deep runs, just like they did a year ago when the narrative was similar.
No.
Ashton Langford gave it away. 1 minute left in this first half. Appleby, he is swarmed every time he touches the ball.
2 men on the ball, Jay. You've got to put guys on him.
Great take. Daivien Williamson, much needed for Wake Forest.
Wake Forest very fortunate to come back and grab this lead. It's been Boston College, as you mentioned, who's missed at least 4 or 5 layups. They could have a lead, but they've got to battle back.
Post to 3. Lanes off, no good. And now the Demon Deacons can hold for the final shot of this first half on an 8-2 run.
Well, you mentioned double teams. Keep your eye. If the ball gets back in Appleby's hands, they will definitely put you on the ball.
Williamson calls his own number again and delivers. 70-foot heave. And Wake Forest takes a 6-point lead into halftime. Really fun back and forth game of the ACC. Told me during halftime you expect a different second half.
Well, a couple reasons. I think both teams are going to relax. I think both teams missing layups tight, and senior night always has an effect on how you play. I really believe that. So look to see both teams kind of loosen up in the second half.
Wake Forest starts with the ball, leading by 6. Clinton, huge mismatch, and he can't take advantage. Offensive foul. Credit Makai Ashton Langford. He was giving up 7 inches in that mismatch and draws the charge.
Jay, watch the feet. Feet never stop moving. You continue to move your feet. You're in position. You take the charge. Great job again. DC playing defense.
Ashton Langford, a really quiet first half. He was scoreless. Quinton Post, another missed layup. That's now 5 or 6.
I got 6.
Yeah.
I may be off on that, but that's 6 what I think are point-blank layups.
And if you're Earl Grant, that's the last thing you want to see continue in this game. Leaving 12 points on the board.
Well, the good news is you're getting there. Bad news is you got to convert.
What can you do as a coach to fix missed layups?
Now you got to relax. You got to concentrate. You got to understand.
Stolen away. Makai Ashton Langford all the way to the rim, and that time the layup is converted.
Again, Jay, off the defense, it's Boston College is putting together a great defensive performance, making it difficult for Wake to get good looks to the basket, and they're double-teaming Appleby.
First Eagles field goal since the 5-minute mark of the first half.
You know, it's interesting. You got Wake with a 4-point lead, but I know through Steve Forbes you're saying, you know, you just don't feel comfortable. You're not playing the way you want to play, but a lot of that has to do with your opponents. BC now is playing better basketball. They've got their guys back. They're healthier now.
Appleby for 3. Got it! Tyree Appleby, after a quiet first half, drills a big 3 to start the second.
He's had more success when he's gone mano-a-mano. You bring another offensive player to him to set screens. It's been difficult, but one-on-one, it's hard to stop him.
See, he's trying to shake that right hand that he fell on. BC answers with a big 3. These two teams going punch for punch. That right hook from Prince Alipe.
Yeah, now we got to give ourselves a game. I did think this would be a little bit different complexion in the second half, and so far we're getting that.
defensively dominated first half. Now the shooting starting to show up. Appleby from the same spot. This time misses, bounces out. Williamson tries his luck. He can't knock it down. Maybe third time's the charm for Wake Forest. Williamson scoots in and finishes.
Hey, you got that, Jay. 3 times is a charm, and if you're BC, you can ill afford to give Wake Forest tap outs and offensive putbacks and reloads, and they did. They've got 3 extra opportunities.
Here's Post, backing down Marsh, lefty hook, rolls around but does not drop.
Yeah, they've done everything but nail those shots. That's as close as you can get to the basket and not convert.
Just one of those nights for Earl Grant's team.
Well, again, you know, if you're Wake Forest, you've got to do a good job. I like that you're aggressive. You go to the basket, and they've got guys that can really defend. BC knows that. They've got to get some guys to close up the lane and force some outside shots. They've done a really good job of challenging shots tonight.
Carr lines up a 3 and buries it.
Well, there's that guy again, Appleby, with the assist. And if you're open, you've got to be ready because Tyree Appleby will get you the basketball.
4 assists on the night for Appleby. An immediate answer, count it, plus the foul, Makai Ashton Langford.
That's a good look, taking the ball to the basket. I really like his ability. He puts it down, he's got the big belly, but he ducks his head, gets to the rim, concentrates, contact, and the foul. Boston College has had some success taking it to the rim.
Only 4 points for Makai Ashton Langford, and the average is over 12.
And you want to drive if you're Langford because he shoots 87 from the line, so you get rewarded when you're that type of free throw shooter. Get to the line as often as you can.
Boston College has only attempted 5 free throws in this game. They've made all of them. Hildreth trying to muscle his way to the rim, and he's fouled.
Jay, I like both teams aren't settling from the outside. I think you can see a concerted effort that you're trying to establish inside out. If you can get to the rim, force a double team, you can get some open looks. And a lot of teams and coaches don't do that, but I think both coaches are showing their ability to get to the line and get to the rim.
Into the game for the first time tonight for Wake Forest. Freshman out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Post calling for it, gets it right into the freshman Keller and takes advantage.
How about the left hand? He shows you the ability to use either hands, but when you let post guys get in that deep, Jay, those are pretty easy scores. So Wake's got to try to turn them to the opposite hand and try to get a second defender there. That's just too easy.
Post now with 8, Zachary 13. So those two, the dominant ones for Boston College in this game. Carr has a mismatch, 8 inches over Zachary, almost lost his footing. That's a tough take.
Well, they've had some really tough looks, and Boston's made it very hard to get good looks. Degree of difficulty, challenge shots.
The Eagles have made 4 of their last 5. Down the lane, another and one opportunity. 6-0 run for the Eagles. Makai Ashton Langford started to heat up. He'll try and finish the 3-point play when we come back. In fast food. There's the late, great John Wooden. And let's take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch. 5 ACC names to keep an eye on when it comes to the Wooden Award. Keep your eye on those 5. Those were the 5 ACC players on the midseason watch list when it comes to the Wooden Award.
Well, I was fortunate, Jay, coaching at Cal against UCLA. We actually beat UCLA 9 straight years, at least once a year. And wow. He was a real big fan. He came over, was very complimentary, had me over to his house. Was very close.
You're kidding.
No, very close to Pete Newell, but he's chastised me one time. He said, Ben, you never come over and say hi before the game. I said, Coach, there's a long line there. He said, oh, good, I feel better. I thought you were beginning to snub me.
How could you ever snub the greatest college basketball coach to ever live?
I said, Coach, trust me. I just was being polite, but he was really a gracious man, Jay, and I'm just glad they named that award after John Wooden. He deserves it.
That's a great story. Ben Braun, 12 years as the head coach at Cal in the Pac-12. Wouldn't that be intimidating with John Wooden watching courtside? You coach?
If I had to coach with Pete Newell watching courtside, so you talk about somebody that John Wooden looked up to. John Wooden came down and used to meet with Pete Newell and really adopted his press. He got his press from Pete Newell. So those two coaches, the two greatest coaches that I've ever been around.
Appleby struggling to get it in. Heaves it. Williamson, nice job keeping his feet in bounds like a wide receiver, tiptoeing. 5 minutes into this second half, 1-point game in the ACC. What a pass. Hildreth with an opportunity, goes baseline, everything but the finish, rejected by the rim. Foul drawn by Post.
Great look. Both teams leaving some points at the basket, but you got to give the defense credit. They're not making it easy. That was a challenge dunk. That was a challenge shot. And if you're a coach, you want to challenge shots. You challenge shots up, Jay, teams shoot the average 38. You don't challenge shots, they shoot 62. That's a pretty good number to look at and to gauge if you're teaching players.
Both teams shooting 40% or better. You wonder what's going to separate these two. They've been so close throughout the game. Pena fires BC in front. Their first lead since it was 24-22.
Well, I'll answer your question. I think it stops. Which team can get consecutive stops? Both teams capable of scoring, but you've got to find a way to get stops. And if you're BC, you've got to start with Mr. Appleby. Get the ball out of his hands. Don't let him beat you.
It's a 10-0 Eagles run. Keller trying to put a stop to it, and he's rejected. BC dialed in on defense. They can't turn it into offense, though. First miss after making 4 in a row. Clinton a 3. He can't connect. Keller scoops up the loose ball. Second chance for the Demon Deacons. And Williamson gives it away. Madsen hits it. Mason Madsen. And Boston College on a 13-0 run.
How about BC? They're on fire, Jay. The shot, the corner, the spot up, the three. We've got a lead, BC College.
For now, experience Duke, North Carolina, Saturday at 6:30 on ESPN.
Oh, that great ACC rivalry. 6:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. We have a loaded slate on Saturday. Duke, North Carolina obviously always delivers, but two top 10 matchups sandwiching that great rivalry. Just a spectacular day for college hoops, the final Saturday in the regular season.
Well, I love Kansas and Texas. I love UCLA, Arizona, but I've got to tell you, North Carolina, Duke, that's basketball's greatest rivalry.
No doubt about it. 13-0 run for Boston College. Eagles' largest lead of the game of 4. Appleby draws the foul. You were at Duke practice over the weekend, right?
Well, you know John Shire, a longtime recruiter. He got away, Jay, but we're still friends, family friends as well. What a great job he's doing. And I actually had North Carolina's game when they beat Virginia on Saturday. Boy, did they play well. I thought their team stepped up. So you don't count Duke out or North Carolina come March. Those two teams are as familiar with March Madness as any two teams in the country.
We were talking in the first half. The narrative of the league in the ACC is it's quote-unquote down. Couldn't be farther from the truth if you've watched the games over the course of the season. But the coaches in this league feel like if Duke and North Carolina aren't ranked, it devalues the whole league.
Well, I understand that, Jay, because sometimes you're a victim of your own success. And what I mean by that is that the ACC has been so successful. Look at postseason, look at the teams, and sometimes you take it for granted. But believe me, they're alive and well.
Last year it was a similar narrative as Post drills a three, and yet 3 teams go to the Elite Eight, so...
Yeah, don't go to sleep on the ACC. And I know firsthand, I've played against the ACC. Dean Smith in two Sweet 16. That was no fun, by the way.
The last team you want to see is an ACC team in March Madness. Williamson a three. They needed an answer, and Williamson couldn't deliver. BC ball, the Eagles with all the momentum right now. They are dominating this second half, shooting 73% on a 21-10 run since halftime. Wow.
And Jay, if you're Steve Forbes, you've got to talk to your team about defense. Forget the offense. You've got to stop a team once they get their momentum. Find a way. Make some adjustments, but find a way. Slow them down. Challenge shots.
The Eagles have made 6 of their last 7. Quinton Post in the post. Righty hook. Money.
Look at the confidence level on Quinton Post. And you're right, Jay. He gets the ball that close to the basket. That's money. That's unstoppable. Very difficult to defend when post guys get 2 feet in the face.
Largest lead of the night for Boston College. And Wake Forest totally out of their offensive rhythm right now.
It's all BC, Jay. Look at Post. You want a basket? No problem. Quinton Post. Feed the big fella. 2 points in the paint.
Momentum of this game, and they're running with it.
Well, they sure have. You know, Earl Grant talked to me earlier today. He said, look, I've learned more this year than any other year I've coached on how to progress my team through adversity, injuries, all these things. He said, my first year, we just try to establish our foundation. Now I feel like I have to build our program, and he's doing that. So, you know, give Coach Grant credit. He's been through a lot, but he showed up tonight, and he's playing against, you know, a hungry Wake Forest team, and he's playing at a very high level.
Right now, offensive execution at a premium. BC stays red hot. The Eagles now shooting over 75% in this second half. A 20-2 run. Ten of 13 from the floor. Remarkable second half for Boston College. Hildreth trying to punch back. He draws the foul.
You know, Boston College, Jay, luckily has amnesia because they forgot the 20-point loss they had at home that Wake Forest put on them. But that was a different team then. They're playing at a different level now, and I think Earl Grant's done a good job getting his team to kind of progress. And if you're Steve Forbes right now, this is a big game. This game has a lot at stake for him.
You know, it's worth reminding people, this is a Boston College team that upset Wake Forest in the second round of last year's ACC tournament. Earl Grant's team was a 13 seed. Wake Forest was a 5 seed, a loss that very well cost Wake Forest a shot at the NCAA tournament. So even though the Demon Deacons have won 4 straight regular season meetings, that ACC tournament loss was a huge one. Wake would have likely gone dancing. And now for a second year in a row, Boston College could deliver that knockout blow. Zachary, oh, he is red hot. Jaden Zachary, 18 points.
Now you mentioned it. Now Wake Forest that really needs this win because they're going to have to make it before maybe just a deep run in the tournament gets them in. Now they've got to almost go through if they lose this game and try to get the victory all the way through.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If Wake Forest loses this game, their only path to the NCAA tournament would be winning in Greensboro. And Boston College Eagles dominating. Bickerstaff soaring. Count it. The goaltend. 6 straight makes for Boston College.
Jay, when it's all said and done, you know, look at the defense. The defense has allowed Boston College to get back in this game, but by the same token, when they've had open looks and open opportunities, they've got it. But look at the defense, just pestering. It's just non-stop. Steve Forbes very concerned with Boston College coming in. He said, look, they're physical. They play with a lot of pressure on the ball. We've got to handle that pressure.
In the second half, Boston College outscoring Wake Forest 30-11. Now a 13-point lead. Your season on the line, like we just talked about. Could Boston College deliver another knockout blow to a Wake Forest season in back-to-back years? So Demon Deacon's back's against the wall. What does Steve Forbes say to his team with 10 minutes left to play?
Well, there's a lot of basketball left, so you've got possessions, but you've got to put the ball, and I'm sure he will, put the ball back in Tyree, obviously Appleby's hands, because he's the guy that stirs the drink. He's the guy that gets his team to play. When he plays well, his team plays well. Steve Forbes made no bones about it. He said every time we play well, it's Tyree Appleby, that causes us to play well.
Missed both free throws. Wake Forest has missed 7 foul shots on the night. This is uncharacteristic from Wake Forest in the second half.
Well, very uncharacteristic of Tyree Appleby.
That's a heat check from Quinton Post, and it goes begging. First miss in 7 shots for BC. They've built a 13-point lead. Can they hang on for the final 10 minutes on the road? Wake Forest calling out for somebody to step up. Could it be Cam Hildreth? He misses it.
Jay, they just can't seem to get a good look to the basket because of Boston College's pressure. They're doing a great job of closing out on shooters and closing driving lanes.
It's been 7 minutes without a made field goal for Wake Forest. Boston College continues to build this lead.
Hey, Boston College plays like this down the stretch of the season. I'd hate to play them in the tournament. They're playing so well.
They just beat Virginia 6 days ago. Big time bucket from Tyree Appleby. Maybe that's the shot in the arm Wake Forest is needed.
Well, they've got to cut this lead to single digits. If they do that, they will get back in this game. They've got a great chance, but it starts on the defensive end. They've got to defend.
Ashton Langford all the way to the rim, didn't drop. Here comes Hildreth. Hildreth on the drive. He lost the handle. Didn't get a clean look.
Now he rushed himself, Jay. I think he could have drawn a foul if he didn't broad jump but high jump. You've got to go up to the basket.
Rejected at the rim. Can Wake Forest cash in on the other end? Appleby. It's good! 2 threes for Tyree Appleby. It's a mini 6-0 run to cut the lead to 9. Back to single digits here in Winston-Salem. NC State, Wake Forest found themselves on the wrong side of the bubble. You take a look at that resume, Ben Braun, there is no margin for error for this Demon Deacons team. And yet, trailing by 9, they've cut it to single digits. This is a must-win if they want to give themselves a shot.
Well, I think you're right, Jay. And, if they can come back and win this game, they are definitely back in the conversation. So they're only 3 possessions down. They're putting themselves in position to make a move.
Out of the timeout. Three comes up short. 8 minutes left to play. Appleby's the hot hand. On the drive. All the way to the rim.
Well, that's good coaching. Well, you put the ball in Tyree Appleby's hand, and he knows what to do. He can deliver for your team. We've got a basketball game, Jay.
Tyree Appleby has scored or assisted on 13 of Wake's last 14 points. McLaughlin gathers it. 3 seconds to shoot. Shot clock violation.
And now you've got the crowd back in the game, and this can be a lift for Wake Forest. They played Boston College very good defense, and so that's been a surprise because they've stopped Wake Forest Now, can they stop? Can Boston College continue and get the momentum back?
Demon Deacons trailed by 15. They've just about cut the lead in half. Appleby, too much on it.
Wake Forest has got to dig in defensively. Steve Forbes said, look, we've improved, but we've got to get our defense back. And they've been struggling all night to guard BC.
Appleby sticking a hand in.
Now, they're more active now, Jay. You can see the urgency. You know, don't think this team and these players don't know this. They know this is a big game. You know, if it's not a must-win game, it's a pretty darn close to it. They've got to get out there and defend defensively and give themselves opportunities.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Boston College clinging to a 7-point lead. Chaz Kelly, the floater falls. Big time bucket by the freshman, Chaz Kelly.
Yeah, good looking freshman. Earl Grant so high on the freshman from Houston. That's a big basket.
Eagles lead back to 9. Appleby almost lost it. Zachary all over him. Williamson a 3.
And there's Tyree Appleby again, Jay. Knows what to do. He gets both feet in the paint. You collapse, and he finds his teammates. Knock down threes.
Timeout, Boston College. The Joel has come to life trying to spur Wake Forest comeback. Super Tuesday presented by Progressive continues with Texas Tech at number 3 Kansas. You don't want to miss that 9 Eastern time after we're done here on ESPN. Ben Braun, Jay Alter with you. Tyree Appleby. He has scored or assisted on 16 of the team's last 17 points. He is a one-man comeback machine right now.
A little quiet at the end of the first half. It's quiet no more.
Post draws the contact, count it, plus the foul. Out of the Boston College timeout, Quinton Post delivers.
Well, how about this move for the big guy? Sweep and go. He gets to the rim, draws contact, has a chance for a three-point play. A big basket by Quinton Post.
And that's 4 fouls on Andrew Carr. Post can't convert the three-point play. Lead stands at 8. Appleby directing traffic. Here's the freshman Bobby Klintman off the Carr playing with 4 fouls. Appleby with under 10 on the timer. Williamson all the way to the rim, lays it up and in.
I really like that possession by Wake Forest. They gave the ball back to Tyree Appleby with a live dribble. You can do a lot more with the basketball with a live dribble. He found his teammate who created a basket.
Backdoor to Kelly, off the freshman's hands, that's a turnover.
Well, that's by the defense, Jay. That's Wake Forest now turning it up a notch. This defense was non-existent, in my opinion, in the first half. It's now a staple. This is what's caused them, besides making shots, to increase this lead and get this lead back because they played defense. They've defended Boston College. They've stepped up and answered the challenge. Still a 2-possession game. Boston College now has got to find a way to slow down Tyree Appleby. Easier said than done. A young man who's got a chance to set an all-time ACC record, points and assists.
No player in the ACC has led the conference at the end of the regular season in those 2 categories, both of them. Passing off this time. Lucas Taylor. Shot clock down to 3. Williamson has to heave. Way off the mark.
That's a great possession for Boston College. They needed a stop desperately. You cannot allow Wake Forest to now increase that lead, but they get the stop. And Boston College has played good defense. Now it's up to Wake Forest to return the favor. Wake needs a stop.
Eagles still shooting 65% in this second half. A 15-point lead is down to 6. Trying to add to it. And Post couldn't corral it. Back-to-back turnovers.
I love the defensive activity of Wake Forest. They had their hands on almost every pass, getting in the passing lanes, deflections, huge by Wake Forest.
Appleby, big-time bucket.
Well, that was a clear out, Jay. They crossed their wings, raised their post guys up the floor, and it was Appleby one-on-one to the basket. Great play call by Steve Forbes.
Ashton Langford from three, and he drills it. Mekhi Ashton Langford has Boston College back up by 7.
Yeah, don't go anywhere yet, but BC's, they're not laying over. They're not going to lay down and die. They're defending.
Appleby already with 20 on the night. Passes off. Williamson lines up the three. And buries it. Daivien Williamson delivers. Timeout, Wake Forest. And just like that, we've got a 4-point game. This is going to be a fun finish in the ACC. College basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. It's easy to bundle your home and car insurance at progressive.com. A crossover that will live forever in the ACC. My guy, our colleague, Randolph Childress, that memorable 1995 ACC tournament. Perfect to get you in the mood for some ACC tournament action in Greensboro right down the road. The fun starts next week. I cannot wait, Coach.
Nothing like March Madness, nothing like it anywhere. Probably the greatest spectator sport, just captivates everybody, and it's just a great time to be involved with it. But now look, if you're Wake Forest, you've got to say, look, Boston College has scored 30 points in the paint, and they're shooting 66% in the second half. You have to find a way if you want to claw this game out and defend.
This feels like a March Madness game. Both teams giving everything to this matchup. Two teams that are desperate for some momentum to take with them to Greensboro. They have played like their lives are on the line all night long. Post on the drive. A whistle. Offensive foul. Wave off the basket.
Well, how about the defensive position? This is a great job of anticipating. So much of defense, anticipating, taking the charge, willing to give up your body. There couldn't be a more important play defensively than what Wake Forest just did to take the charge of the big fella. Can Wake Forest utilize and grab that momentum with a great defensive play? Usually you do.
Damon Jenkins trails by as many as 15. Now trying to cut the lead to one possession. Up top, Bobby Clifford! Trying to will Wake Forest to a stop. Quinton Post has other ideas. Dumps it down low. Bickerstaff the finish.
Huge play by Post to find his teammate, TJ Bickerstaff. Great job. You've got to put a second defender on Post. You do. What does he do? Finds his teammate. Heads up.
Under 2 minutes to go. 4-point game. Appleby pulls the trigger. Can't connect. Boston College going to slow things down, clinging to a 4-point lead on the road. Appleby commits the foul.
Well, you're right, Jay. You've got time on behind you in your possession here. If you can just utilize the clock, you do not want to be in a hurry, and you certainly don't want to turn the ball over. You'll take anything right now. Missed shot, but TOs, no. That's a no can do. Wake, again, needs a stop to close out this comeback.
No more fouls to give either. Jaden Zachary has been the go-to guy. 18 points tonight for the Eagles. Has it here. Under 10 on the shot clock. Zachary. Too much on it. Offensive rebound, though. And a kicked ball, a fresh shot clock. That is a costly offensive rebound.
Well, that's a killer. You know, Jay, you play great defense. You challenge up. Really a tough shot for Zachary. And all you need to do is seal off. And BC keeps the possession alive. That's a backbreaker.
Each team with one timeout remaining. Boston College can take this under a minute before they have to shoot. Appleby all over Zachary. Got it away cleanly. Here comes Wake Forest. Williamson at three. Timeout, Boston College. The Joel is on its feet. And Wake Forest, who once trailed by 15 in this second half, has cut it to 1.
Jay, I gotta look at this now. Watch the steal, the quick hands by Appleby. And watch this shot. I think this shot hit glass from the corner. It did. That's something you don't see very often. Did he call bank? I don't think anybody cares.
It does not matter.
No, it does not matter. The bank is open here in Wake Forest.
On senior night, the Winston-Salem native.
And what a game.
A huge three. This crowd is electric. There's Chris Paul, CP3, hoping his alma mater, Wake Forest, can pull it out here. Before he plays tomorrow night with the Suns against the Charlotte Hornets.
Always magic when you can bring one of your best back home.
Yeah, he's gotten a good one, so have we. What a fun finish this is.
Look how cool, calm, and collected is. I think he might know something we don't. Maybe he knows Wake's got something in the bag here. But, you know, this comeback has been unbelievable. Jay, you think about it, they were 13 down, and things weren't going their way, but they just managed to hang in there. Look at what Post has done for Boston College, but Appleby, Williamson for Wake, they have really stepped up in the second half. And you can see now that Wake's really been on a tear, but it's going to come down, as I said, to defense. You want to win this game, you better defend. Boston College has been on fire. They still haven't solved Boston College yet.
BC now out of timeouts for the final 45 seconds of regulation. They have the ball and a 1-point lead. Led by as many as 15, now just trying to close out a win on the road. 7 seconds to shoot. Ashton Langford. Bounced out of bounds with 3 seconds on the shot clock. What do you do here?
Well, you got to play inside out. You don't want Post getting the ball, Jay. You must make, if you're Wake Forest, make Boston College throw the ball in the perimeter and take your chances with a challenge shot. Nothing to the basket.
Into Post. Hits him! As the buzzer sounded on the shot clock, Quinton Post delivers. Appleby down 3, all the way to the rim. Count it, plus the foul. A chance to tie it at the line.
Yeah, you want to know if Tyree Appleby is a clutch basketball player. He can score, he can assist. His team needed him there to score. He takes it to the basket, gets fouled, absorbs contact, has a chance, Jay, to tie this game with 19 on the clock.
2 of 4 tonight from the foul line. From down 15 to tied at 69.
Well, now you're Wake Forest, and unfortunately, you've got to try to play on last possession. BC can play for the last possession, and the way they've been playing, they've been on fire. That's going to be a big challenge. Is Wake up to it?
15 seconds to go. Boston College without a timeout. trying to steal one on the road. 8 seconds left. Ashton Langford in attack mode. Leans in. It's good. Boston College leads with 2.2 left. Makai Ashton Langford. Wake Forest uses its final timeout.
Jay, how important is pivoting? Look at him keep his pivot foot down, lets the defender clear him, and makes the basket. If the young players out there watching this, watch the pump fake, the step through, the concentration, and the finish. That's just textbook. So 2.2 to go. If you're Wake Forest, what do you have in your bag? Well, you've got to try to get it down the length of the floor. You don't really have time to dribble it in a heave-ho. You can, but you're probably going to draw up, if you're Steve Forbes, a pass. If you're Boston College, the one thing you cannot afford to do is foul. And so Steve Forbes knows that. He's telling his team, hey guys, they're not going to foul. Go up and grab with 2 hands. You'll get an opportunity, because you just can't give up a foul in this situation. So as a coach, you've got to know that and take advantage of it.
You would think Tyree Appleby gets the ball in the final shot here on senior night, right?
Well, you know, he's going to have to come off a screen. I think if you give it to him in the backcourt, that's just not enough time to get a quality shot. You know, you're going to have to see if he can get some momentum.
You feel bad for the hearts of Demon Deacon fans, because they've been in this situation all season long. 10 games decided by 3 points or less. Here Wake Forest is again.
Been heartbreak, but hopefully this one will have a little different ending.
Now only 2.2 seconds left. Down to the final shot. Hildreth intercepted, and